and welcome to the Answers Yes podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, I want to thank everybody so much for their support of my book that launched a couple weeks ago, The Freedom to Say Yes. We made it onto the Amazon bestseller list in the business category, so thank you so much for that. You can get a copy, just reach out on my website, or you can go through Amazon. So thank you again. Hey, all the feedback on these shows that we've been grinding out this year have been very exciting, and I appreciate all the referrals and all the publicity companies that have been bringing guests our way. And today I have Joseph Wilkens on the line. Good morning, good afternoon. How are you?
Good morning, Jim. I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well. I see this is not a Zoom recording, but I see you've got a beautiful studio there. I wish my audience could see that. Very professional, and imagine you do quite a bit of work there.
We do, yeah. We stay busy.
Yeah. Well, I know you talk about your writers being the funny ones, but your funnysalesvideos.com is what caught my attention and wanted to interview you, and I want to talk about that. But for my listeners, can you give us some background on yourself, maybe where business started for you, or your early life, and how you got to where you're at today?
Yeah, gosh, I'll try to give you a condensed version. That's kind of an open question, but I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. When I was a kid, I dreamed up schemes to help make money. I had a dog walking business in my village in England, and I hired all of my friends to go walk dogs for me. When I was in college, I paid my way just through one hustle or another. Mm-hmm. And about 20 years ago, I started the production studio. So we're an agency that produces videos that help companies sell products, but we didn't start out as Funny Sales Videos. We were just a traditional ad agency, and we did television mainly. We've worked for some huge companies and some mom and pop companies. You know, we've done videos for Google, LinkedIn, Chevrolet, McDonald's, Goldman Sachs, but we've also done very, very small projects. And about 15 years into the business is when we had the big shift, when we started to say, people don't care about our commercials. They're boring. There's no entertainment factor in them. And that's what people are looking for these days when they go on social media, which is where most of our videos now live. And we made a huge pivot to say, how can we make our sales videos more enticing to watch, whether you want to buy the product or not? And that's when Funny Sales Videos was born. And so that's just a real quick overview, and we can dive into any details you want to go into.
Well, I love it. We have a lot of people on here that had side hustles younger in life. I used to sell gum on the playground, and it went on to a variety of different things. Give us one or two side hustles when you were in college, just for the heck of it.
So in college, the one that springs to mind is I decided that, I was in an unusual situation because I was an international student. Mm-hmm. So hopefully the immigration services aren't listening to this, because I legally wasn't allowed to work. And so I had to find, side hustles where I could make some money under the table.
Yeah.
So I went out and I created this big calendar with all of the events that were happening for the year that students would want to know about. Mm-hmm. And I went to a printer and I basically printed out like a year in advance glance of all of the dances that were going on, all of the concerts, all of the events that students would want to know about. And then I door-to-door knocked businesses and said, hey, you need to advertise on this. So I had this poster that we delivered by hand to about 10,000 dorm rooms. And, everyone loved it because they put it up on the wall and it showed them all the stuff that's happening every weekend. But then it also had money-saving coupons. So that was one of the hustles that I did year after year to basically pay my tuition.
Wow. Awesome idea. I've seen them before, maybe not yours, somebody else's, but I've seen them before. What a great side hustle.
Yep. And then just like I said, other ones were just, mowing lawns, anything that I could do to get through college debt free. I even donated plasma. You can see my plasma scars. Obviously your listeners can't hear, but I just needed to figure out a way to get through debt free, which is what I did.
Why was that? And I appreciate that perspective. Why was that a goal of yours to get through debt free? Because so many people, they just stack up the debt and deal with it later.
Yeah. Half of it was out of necessity. Again, as an international student coming from England to the United States, I didn't qualify for all of the loans and, grants that you guys do. But I also just knew that I've always been had an aversion to debt. And that's the way I've built my company. I've never taken on $1 in debt. If I didn't have it, I would just, figure out how to beg, borrow, and steal to make the money to buy the next gadget or building studio. We've been very, very scrappy. But 20 years later, we're still debt free, don't have any equity partners. And that's maybe slows your growth in some business environments. But for me, it was more important to create and maintain creative control. Because in my industry, it's super subjective, and I didn't want any, board members breathing down my neck.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, especially as we have a lot of entrepreneurs listening. People start up businesses and then they immediately go to, I need to raise capital. We got seed money. Let's go to Silicon Valley. But what they don't realize, what comes with that is all kinds of strings attached. Like you said, board members going, okay, this is what we're really going to do.
Yep. And I've taken on a couple of partners, but I've never officially it's always been more joint ventures rather than, let's sign over the rights to the company. Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of joint ventures, but just for me, through my journey, being a sole proprietor has been very important.
Yeah. Well, talk about your version of joint venture, because I think that's a great study for people to understand.
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. In fact, the joint venture that really I still credit as being one of the most important decisions I ever made was my very first job, actually my second job out of college. I was the marketing director for an international hot tub company. And so we sold all over the world, and I produced the infomercials, radio commercials, TV commercials, billboards. And we hired an ad agency to come in and buy the media space to run those ads. And I became very, very good friends with the owner of the ad agency. And after about 3 years of working together, we went out to dinner one day and said, we really should start a company together. And that was the thing that helped me to start this business. But I said right from the start, I would love to work with you, and I need your services. My clients need your services. I don't do that. You need my services. You don't do the creative. And so we basically partnered up, and his whole book of business basically fell into my lap. And I started producing creative commercials for them. And then as we went out to hustle together and walked into businesses saying, we're a one-stop shop, we quickly grew to one of the largest at one time agencies in Salt Lake. And that was just a beautiful marriage of two services that need to go together. And for about 15 years, we worked as partners, 50-50 partners in any new clients that we had together. We kept our individual clients. So there was always, in my mind, a balance of, stability, what Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank calls the knocked over by a bus problem. Right. If he was knocked over by a bus, I would still have my security clients. And that's the way that we work together. So I would encourage anyone listening to think about, what complementary services are there out there that you don't provide that you could partner with another company or individual to be better than the individual parts.
That's such great advice and conversation, because I think everybody's trying to figure the whole problem out, and they might only be good at one thing or really good at that one thing. And in this environment that we all live and work now, we're not in offices anymore. We're on Zoom calls working from home. Why not find a partner that, offsets what you do or don't do?
For sure. 100%.
Yeah, they're pretty fascinating. I love the evolution of where business is going in entrepreneurship and new things, coming down the pike.
Absolutely.
Yeah, where are you taking your? Actually, let's start here. Tell us about your business now. The funny sales videos and what you guys do. What a wonderful thing to be doing.
Well, I'll give you a quick compare and contrast. So for the first 15 years of life as an entrepreneur running a video production agency, the biggest video view count that we ever got on one of our projects. We did a video for a company. It was actually a network marketing company that had a big following, and we got 100,000 views on a video that we did for them on YouTube, I think it was. And at the time, we were like patting ourselves on the back, saying, "Whoa, we got a really, we went viral," which wasn't the case. It had a built-in audience, but for 15 years, that was the biggest video that we ever had. Now, we had much bigger views on television, but I'm talking about social media, which is obviously the big disruption that happened to my industry. Was, we went for 15 years almost putting our eggs in one basket of television, which sucks today, right? People just don't watch television the way that they used to. And so our clients' results were going down and down and down. And we were kind of the ostrich with our head in the sand saying, no, this is the only thing we know how to do. And then our clients were coming to us saying, we've seen these other videos that are hilarious and are getting millions of views. We want to do that. And my response was always, sorry, we don't do funny. Because the worst thing you can do is try to be funny and end up looking stupid. Right. You get cultural egg on your face. People just can spot a mile off that, you just didn't have the chops to pull that off. And so we kept saying, no. But then about 5 years ago is when we really said, okay, enough's enough. Our projects are not getting the results that they need. What really is working, we don't have the skills to do. So let's really spend some time and go find some really clever, professional, creative comedy writers, because that's the difference, right? We knew how to create great looking videos and, all of the production. We even knew how to write really good scripts. We didn't know how to make them funny. And so that's when we went out and we recruited a team of freelancers, again, talking about the lean manufacturing, mindset of, I don't have to go out and hire a ton of employees. Let's just find people that this is what they already do for a living and just, hire them for a project here and there. And to give you a compare and contrast, our very first video that we launched under the Funny Sales Video brand, which launched 5 years ago, after assembling this team, it was a super small company with an even smaller niche audience. Our first campaign, between 3 videos, we got 7 million views. Wow. On top of that, views for the sake of views don't pay the bills. We generated over $500,000 of subscriptions to a SaaS service. So that immediately we knew we were onto something, and we threw all of our eggs into that basket almost. And today, our biggest campaign is about to hit 100 million views for, I think it's 5 or 6 videos between them, and millions and millions and millions of dollars in sales. So these kinds of videos are just transforming the way that we do business, and more importantly, transforming the way our clients generate sales.
Yeah, down there in Salt Lake, you have a local influencer, Sean Whalen. He owns the Lion's Den. He talks about your business. Look at it like a cake, right? The ingredients that go into that cake. If you don't have the right ingredients, mix them up a little bit. Sound like you guys had the right cake, but you needed a little spice to it. So you added the funny, video team or, the writers to bring that creative to you. And I think oftentimes people just think that their business models completely failed instead of looking at changing out an ingredient like you guys did.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So now, as this has progressed over the last 5 years, how is it going looking towards the future? Is there a long lifespan for the types of videos you're doing now? Or do you think you got to make some more twists and turns?
Well, I'm never arrogant enough to say that I know that much about the future, because if you had asked me 20 years ago, I would have said TV's never going to go anywhere, right? It hasn't for the past, 100 years or however long television's been around. And so, I'm definitely conscious of what's going to be the next big disruptor. And just, off the top of my head, those are probably the metaverse, right? The way that things are changing, that are going, to augmented reality, virtual reality.